Hi, my name is Robert Wilkins, aka Basketball Tall. I'm going to share something with you that you will find hard to believe. I too would consider it maybe something that's not true, but it's the fact that it is true. And you're going to be shocked of the outcome. I was visiting with a good buddy last night by phone who was also involved in this story that I'm about to share with you. The people involved includes myself, one of my close friends. His name was Walter Barnes. We called him Horse. We played at the same high school at Wiseman High School in Monroe, Louisiana before coming to Oklahoma. And we joined up with three other guys from Huntington High School in Shreveport, Louisiana, and their names were Cleve Bryant, Jeff, and Gary Calhoun. So we had 5 guys from Louisiana that came to a town in Tishomingo, Oklahoma, playing college basketball at Murray State College. And usually on a weekend at these small towns, usually the students go home on the weekend. But for us guys who are out of state, we didn't get that luxury. In visiting last night, reflecting back with someone who was there, we looked back and thought about how dangerous and dumb and stupid that was. How 7 athletes being surrounded about 300 people in the country in a rural area near a lake or river at a humongous barn fire. And it was just only 7 of us in a rural area among about 300 or maybe more, because it was packed. And I'm going to set the scene for you in just a moment, because you're not going to believe the outcome. It's hard to believe. And matter of fact, my buddy didn't even want me to share this story because he's had such a great professional career, and so have I. And he felt that when we were 18, 19 years of age, and how the outcome could have been different, way, way different. It could have been deadly. And it almost got to that point. I know you're probably wondering in suspense, what are you talking about? Come on, get to it. I'm getting to it. But I gotta set the scene here for you. This was during the fall of 1976 on a weekend. And we were at this club called The Bucket. It was just a little small building, where they had a jukebox, and you put your 25 cents in there and you can play songs. And of course they served, beer, that type of thing. Now, back in 1976, at 18, you could buy beer in Oklahoma. But coming from Louisiana at 18, you can even buy liquor in the state of Louisiana back then. And here we have myself, Walter Barnes, who we called Horse, Jeff, Cleve Bryant, Gary Calhoun, and one white guy that was with us. And his name was Randy Denning. And Randy was from Madison, Iowa, I believe it was. And we were at this club. I believe maybe we were drinking a beer or two because it was legal back then. And this was a weekend, so we had nothing else to do at this little club called The Bucket in Tishomingo, Oklahoma. And this guy came in and he was looking for help. He came to us and asked, hey, I need you guys' help. Help me. He said these guys tried to, I think, beat him up or do something to him. When he came and asked us to help him, and of course, when you're young and dumb and you may have had a beer, and of course we obliged him. Why? Because this guy named Chad, he probably was maybe in his mid-30s. And he was a white guy. He owned a garage there in Tishomingo. And he worked on my car one day for me to allow us to be able to take a trip back to Louisiana, and he did it for me free. So when he came to us and asked us for his help, of course, we all loaded up in 2 cars and went out to this lake. Visualize this picture. We pulled up in 2 cars, parked our car, I don't know, maybe 100 yards away. Then we get out of the cars, and you got 5 black guys now. Keep that in mind. You have Randy Denton, who's white, and Chet, who's also white. And we go down to this lake and this humongous barn fire. And I mean, picture this. It's just like in a movie scene. The fire is just humongous. And you had all these people all just like packed in like sardines. There was so many. It was hundreds. And we get out. And we all geared up thinking we're going to battle somebody. Now keep this in mind. This is 1976. Just a decade prior in the 60s, you know, there was a lot of segregation and Jim Crow. So in the 1970s came about, that was a great migration where people started getting integrated to all different schools and colleges. And think about in the 60s and prior how people that look like me, a lot of people lived in fear. But for some reason, we didn't have that fear in the 70s and beyond. We were a different generation. So we all get out and we park the cars about 100 yards away. And I remember getting this jack handle. You know, like you jack up a car. I had a jack handle. Some other people had other objects in their hand. None of us had weapons, but then again, that could be a weapon if you injure and hurt somebody with it. So we get out and we go down to this barn fire, all these people. And the sad thing about it was we weren't afraid. Think about that. And then picture this. You have Walter Barnes, who we call Horse. Horse goes down, he has this stick about so long. It was a wooden stick, and it was probably about so round, you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe an inch in diameter. It seems that way. We joked about it later on. But Horse kicks it off. We all go down there, it was all 7 of us, 5 black guys, 2 white. And Horse gets right down, right near that big old barn farm. Picture this. You got to picture it now. There's Horse right in front of the barn fire. Everybody's all around. And then Horse says this. Now, my Christian friends, please forgive me. I'm going to have to tell the story the way it actually happened as I remember it. So there's going to be some profanity, which I don't cuss anymore. Okay, I'll just be honest with you. I don't do that. And the thing is, Horse had this little wooden stick, maybe about 3 feet long. And the picture, you gotta see this. That barn fire is humongous. And then Horse goes down like in the middle of everybody. And then he says, Pastor, forgive me for saying this, and all my Christian friends, but I'm just telling this story the way it was, okay? So I don't want to sugarcoat anything on this because it's unbelievable. Horse kicks it off. Horse says, and he got this stick, I hear that somebody's fucking with my friend. You fuck with my friend, you fuck with me. And Horse hitting the ground. Now picture this, the big barn fire behind him. And then, and it's nighttime, it's night. And Horse, and the light, you can see all behind him. And Horse hitting that stick on the ground and saying, you fuck with my friend, you fuck with me. And then he says this. It's unbelievable. Black guy now, among a sea of whites. And he says, this is my ass whipping stick. It's funny, I know, I can laugh about it now, but at the time it was very serious. My buddy from Monroe, Louisiana, Walter Barnes, who we call Horse, kicks it off like that. Time we got down there, Horse just kicked it off. And boy, when he said that, it just like took everybody back. This was like a Bass Reeves moment as you look back. Bass Reeves, the guy who was in slavery and then, of course, went into Oklahoma and the Cherokee Nation, who became a deputy marshal for the United States, deputy marshal. That's what it was like. And he was a black guy who was in slavery, and here we are just coming out of Jim Crow. But it's still lingering. And boy, Horse kicked it off. This my ass whipping stick. You fuck with my friend, you fuck with me. He was talking about Chet. He didn't know who was who. He just went out there and started doing it. And guess what we were doing? We were like the Fat Albert gang. Yeah, 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 man, yeah, yeah. You know, picture that scene. Really, picture that scene. And then Cleve. Cleve got into some guy. It was some white guy. And Cleve, you know, he was our point guard at Murray State College, by the way. And Cleve was having a conversation with this boy, and he said, boy, don't you touch my hand. Cleve had his finger right in the guy's face like that. And the guy said, man, get your hand out my face. Cleve said, boy, don't you touch my hand. Don't you touch my hand. And the guy said, man, get your hand out my face. The dude touched Cleve's hand and Cleve just backslapped him off. Pow! Dude fell back in the crowd. I mean, hey, it's funny now, but it wasn't, at the time, it was a crazy moment. And then out of the sea of people, then there was this guy said something to Randy Denny. Now, Randy, you know, he was 6'8" from Iowa. He came from a farm. We like to say Randy was, you know, he was a strong dude, you know. And he was a really good ball player, too. I got to give it to him. And some guy said, Denny, you ain't shit. Now, keep in mind, all the sea of people, you know, you don't know where it's coming from. And out of nowhere, this guy just came out from among that crowd and just rushed that big D. Man, and all of a sudden, there was cars parked there, too. And D and that guy went back. D went back on the car with the guy on top of him, but boy, that was a mistake. Because, you know, Randy, 6'8", from a farm, and all of a sudden, D got up and just picked that guy up and just, bam, body slamming him on top of the hood of that car, and we all standing around like D, get him, kill him, kill him, kill him. Then D just threw him back in the crowd. Think about that. Think about how bizarre that was. Think about how crazy that was. We did all that, and I don't know if even Chet saw the guy and said something or got his money. I don't know. Then we all loaded back up, jumped into 2 cars, and went back to the bucket. And Chet thanked us. Think about how stupid that was. See, that's the thing about when you're young. That's why young men make great soldiers. Because it's easy for that gang, that group mentality to get everybody worked up. Let's go get them. Charge. And here we are. We're just coming out of high school. Well, except for Randy. Me, Cleve, Jeff, and Horace. We're all straight out of high school. First year in college. And Randy, this was his 2nd year. And there we were, I guess you could say bored on a weekend. Everybody from college had gone home, except for all of us guys who played sports, and we had no choice, so we're at the bucket. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Chet shows up and asks for our help. And probably the only reason we went with him because he worked and fixed on my car that helped us to be able to go home to Louisiana on whatever particular weekend or break we had. And this was in the fall of 1976. Think about that. See, the moral or the gist of this story is, don't follow the crowd. Young people, think about your actions before you do it. If someone comes along and tells you, hey, I need your help, don't go. Ask questions. Even if your buddy said, hey, come on, man, let's go help him. No, don't do it, because all too often things go bad at times. What if somebody would have put him out and stabbed one of us? What if somebody would have had a gun and shot one of us? What if all of a sudden that 300 or more crowd decided to just gang up on us? But we went there and whooped that whole crowd, kicked off by Horace. What Horace did. There's my ass whipping stick. I hear you fuck with my friend, you fuck with me. Hitting that stick on the ground. Visualize that. And the bonfire just all behind us. Huge. Imagine the silhouette to some. And it was nighttime. But we can be seen. And those dark guys, you know. And we were like, came there out of nowhere. These people were out there drinking and having a good time, you know? Probably smoking weed, whatever they were doing. It was just out there. It's like, you know how you go to a lot of these communities, these towns, and people have their favorite places where they go where they can have a good time? Then all of a sudden, we just came and crashed the party and seemed ignorant. And to be honest with you, we were ignorant. That was stupid. That was dumb. And I must say this, since I'm cussing, I was dumb as hell. And that's why Jeff didn't want it to be known. But he did give me his blessing. So I went ahead, okay, I'm going to do it. Unfortunately, Cleve and Horst, they're no longer with us. And I'm not certain where Randy is at. But that's a true story. And that's a story that maybe others may have experienced something similar, but the outcome was not the same. So, I beg and plead all of you, make good decisions. Don't go along with the crowd. Don't let someone influence you in doing something. And if you're doing something that's wrong, that's not right, especially, I would think about this, because I retired from the criminal justice system. And when you're young, if you any teachers out there messing with any students, just remember, or any adult doing anything with kids, just remember, they're going to tell somebody. Kids are not going to keep it to themselves. They're going to tell somebody, and it's just a matter of time, you yourself, an adult, you're going to get in trouble. And is it worth it? Just for a moment of pleasure, mentally or physically. So, anybody listening to this out there, don't do what we did, because we survived, and our futures, we still had great, awesome, outstanding careers and good futures, and a great future. But that could have gone sour very badly. Somebody could have got seriously injured, or even possibly killed, off of foolishness. So heed my words, my warning. Don't follow the crowd. When you have that gut feeling, and it seems that it always comes to you when something's just not right, listen to it, obey it, because that can be your spirit talking to you, telling you, don't do it, don't go. But when you ignore it, then bad things happen, or you get caught, then you'll say, I knew I shouldn't have done that. I knew I shouldn't have, because you had that gut feeling. And you didn't obey it. Like I said, it seems to come to you when something's just not right. And that night, we were not right. Thank God for his hedge protection. Because, boy, that was dumb as hell. Wouldn't you agree? Robert Wilkins, aka Basketball Tall. Go ahead, give me a thumbs up if you like that story, because it's a true story. And it's a story that I'm telling to be able to help someone on this journey of life. See you next time.